Coming up on the Merge Out Loud, the guys from Satellites and Sirens hang out with Tower. Stay tuned.
Hey, welcome to the Merge Out Loud. My name is Tower. We're with Satellites and Sirens.
What's up, man?
It's great to have you guys on.
Good to see you. Here.
Craigslist. It's a place where you can buy couches, TVs, cars. It's even a place you can actually find a band.
Yes.
The band kind of started on Craigslist.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We had music, and we came to a point where we needed to actually start putting together the band, and so I put an ad up on Craigslist, and we had these auditions where we had about 10 people come out, and there was a lot of interesting fellows that we had come out to the show. We had a couple guys that were in their 40s that was kind of like, you're a good player, but not quite what we're looking for, man.
But you've got 3 kids, so how are you going to go on the road?
Exactly. And so then Jonathan came. He kind of just blew my mind when he came in and played drums. He's probably one of the best players he's definitely the best player I've ever played with, and one of the better players I've seen. So when he came and played for us, we ended up becoming friends after that, and he just kind of fit right in with the band. We had a couple other band members at that point. It took some time, but eventually we ended up with Brandon because Jonathan knew him, and so that's kind of how he got involved. And then Brandon knew Dave, and that's how Dave got involved. And so now, the last year, we've been this band. And
it's kind of an interesting process because you're actually auditioning like a family member here because you guys are together so much.
Seriously, yeah. There's so much to it when you come down to it. We're on the road so much. We have to be able to get along. We have to be able to have fun. We have to be able to not talk to each other sometimes too. Just leave each other alone.
Because of that, I actually almost didn't make it in the band because there was another guy who Jeff actually knew that was kind of like vying for the position, and the producer was like, yeah, I think you should go with Jonathan, and Jeff was like, but he's not my friend. But now we're best friends, so.
Now we're best buddies.
Now it's okay.
You weren't like a prima donna during the audition then, that wasn't the problem?
I was not.
It was funny that our producer actually contacted Jonathan, was like, all right, man, it's down to you and this other guy, and I think you should maybe take him out to coffee, maybe just kind of,
Take Jeff out to coffee,
take me out.
Him up or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a band date.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, what's funny, I went to the audition, and it's a Craigslist audition. I had just moved to Nashville, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to go to an audition to say I did an audition. So I honestly didn't think anything of it. So I learned the stuff, I played, I left, I was like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, it turned into this.
Let's go ahead and jump into the first official video here. It's called Breaking the Noise. Kind of your introduction to who you are as a band. When people first started checking you out, the album first came out. Yeah. Tell me where it came from and just how the visuals of what you were going to pair it for a video came together.
Yeah, I mean, we had a really good friend of ours. His name was Jesse Koska, and we just, at this point, we were just kind of going out and trying to get some more things that we could put up online, more videos, just all that kind of stuff. And so he just came to us and was like, hey man, can I follow you guys around for a couple of days and just get some video, and we'll see kind of what happens from that. So it was a day where we had a show that was coming up, and so we did rehearsal, and we drove around and just kind of hung out and just had a good time, and then we actually went down to the show and played it. And he actually just took all the footage from the live show, from just the hanging out, and he kind of pieced together this thing that I feel like really kind of encompassed us. Like the song "Breaking the Noise" is kind of a it's a passionate song. It's emotional, and but he was able to kind of put together some of what we do live, along with kind of the fun kind of character that we all have together as just hanging out. And so he did a really great job of piecing it together and making something that we were really happy with.
Let's go ahead and go into it then. The song is called Breaking the Noise. The Satellites and Sirens are on the Merge Out Loud. Hey, coming up on the Merge Out Loud, just how many t-shirts can one human being wear at the same time? This is the Merge Out Loud. My name is Tower with Satellites and Sirens. Normally when you think about going to see a band play, you think about going and being a part of the audience, and maybe your participation is like you clap or sing along a little bit. With your shows, the fans are actually on stage and occasionally playing instruments, yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah, we try to incorporate every kid into that show somehow, as much as we possibly can. We have some just kind of random instruments like a chaos pad and some things like that. That it's not like necessarily an instrument that they're playing chords or anything like that, but they can just touch it with their finger and it just
Well, can you explain a chaos pad? Because that sounds like something out of an '80s Sylvester Stallone movie.
Exactly. Yeah. It is. It's a pad about this big, and it's touch sensitive. And depending on where you touch it, we have like different sounds on it, and it just kind of. I'll make the sounds.
When you get really low.
Yeah, exactly. And so kids can just, we put it out in the crowd, and I hand it to kids, and sometimes, just kind of put it over them, and they just touch it. And
here you go. You're in the band, right?
Exactly.
And that actually filters into a big part of why this band exists, is just to reach out to kids that are maybe having a hard time. Tell me more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the big thing that we want to do and that we focus on is relationships, and I feel like we live in a time right now where kids, they don't get any attention or love at home. A lot of kids, they go to school, they get made fun of, they go home, they get made fun of, they sit in their room and they talk on the internet with people or whatever it is, and so what we want to do is even if it's for 15 minutes, just make that kid feel like they're special. We love to before we play a show, we love to go out in the crowd and we kind of act like we're not part of the band because nobody really knows who we are yet. So we just kind of stand out there with them. We just engage in conversation, and then I love that second that those kids realize that it was me that they were talking to when I'm on stage playing. I can see in their face that they're like, "Oh my gosh, that guy's in the band. This is awesome," And it just makes them feel special for a little bit. And if we can do that, then that's what we want to do.
The video for the song "Come On" we're going to do in just a couple minutes. That's actually where really the inspiration for the songwriting came from, though, right?
Yeah,
Situations
absolutely.
like that.
Yeah, I knew some went through a situation with some family, some friends that I knew, and they had a broken home, and I spent some time with one of the kids that went back and forth between his mom's house and his dad's house, and was able to just kind of see the torment that he had because of that, and then also I had the unique opportunity to talk to the parents about the same thing and see what the torment that they were going through, just knowing that their son was going back and forth and not being able to really figure out a way to connect with him or really understand what he was going through. So it was a great opportunity for me to see that, in Christian families and non-Christian families, we all are dealing with certain situations like that with the broken homes and divorce, and me being able to see it and be a part of it, it just kind of opened my eyes to something, and that's why we wrote the song. The song's upbeat and it's fun, it's a dance song, but it's about that issue that we've got a God that loves us no matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you're at your dad's house or your mom's house or if you're not getting any love at home. We've got a God that loves us, and being able to be there for each other. So. And
the video was shot in a garage. This is a homemade job. You're really the star here. Yeah, the T-shirts.
That's true.
How many T-shirts do we see in here?
I think at its peak, I think I have 46 T-shirts on. And it's a lot. I mean.
Okay, like how many smalls you can do versus how many mediums versus how many larges?
You just keep going up in size. And what's funny is during the middle of that music video shoot, our camera died. The battery went out. So we were just like, oh, we're kind of hungry. Let's go to Waffle House. It's like midnight. I walk into Waffle House with, at that point, I think 37 T-shirts on. I can't even you see in the video, I can't even put my arms down on my side. And so the lady behind the counter was just, looking at me like I've lost my mind.
Okay, well, we've got to actually see what you look like here. Yeah. How long did this take?
I think the video, like the actual taping of it, took like 2.5 hours.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Something like that.
You knocked it
But
out.
then, he did all the editing, and the editing took a couple days for sure.
It was fun.
Before we go into the video, can you actually do the intro live?
Absolutely.
Can we get that?
Here we go.
Satellites and Sirens, the video is Come On the Merge Out Loud. Apparently they're still in video mode. Hey, coming up on the Merge Out Loud, with Satellites and Sirens, there's 24 hours in a day. A band plays music for about an hour and a half a day, so we're gonna find out what happens all the rest of the time and some of the pranks that they pull. It's the Merge Out Loud. You're watching the Merge Out Loud. By the way, I have to point out that Satellites and Sirens and myself, we all are bearded.
That is the truth. It is a requirement for the band to own a beard.
To have facial hair.
Well, and we actually realized that this is like your first time having a beard.
Yeah, this is the first
you
time
were
on the
somewhat
show.
inspired by us, was the word on the street.
That's
Is that kind of we were coming and you kind of want to be part of the club or something?
Yeah, that and the Chicago Blackhawks just became huge right here in the city where we shoot the show.
Gotcha.
With the Stanley Cup victory and the tradition of hockey players growing beards, just a lot of fans did the same thing.
But mostly the thing about
Yeah, the problem is that mine kind of looks like I'm 14 years old because it never actually comes in on all the way. You guys are on the road a lot of the year, especially starting out as a new band. You play for about an hour to an hour and a half a night. That leaves 22 and a half hours a day for you guys to get into shenanigans and have fun, play pranks on other bands. Because even if you're an adult at home, whether you're 24 or 44, when you're on the road, it's pretty much college all over again, right?
It's the truth. Anything goes, kind of.
we pulled a pretty legendary prank, I feel, on the band Disciple.
Okay.
We were out with them. I think it was in Indiana, and last night of us being on tour with them, and we actually all, without Kevin, their lead singer, knowing, got their entire band to agree to In the Darkness before their first song to let us switch instruments with all of them. So the lights come up, and Kevin does this thing. When they first start their show, he just headbangs and punches his fists like crazy. It's crazy. So we knew he was going to be doing that for like 20 seconds. And then when he stops doing that, he realizes that his entire band is nowhere to be found, and it's us.
Yeah.
And we played the whole song with him, and it was really fun. So there's a YouTube video if you want to check it out.
Yeah,
so.
we were just going crazy to it. It was pretty hilarious, but it's priceless, the look on Kevin's face when he realizes what's going on. His drummer's out in the audience with the camera, like taking the video, like it was priceless. So.
And you guys start, I mean, every band pretty much starts at humble beginnings, kind of the bowling alley type shows. Like, what were the really weird places you played?
Man, the bowling alley show was, or it wasn't a bowling alley. It was actually a skating rink. That was one of the greatest.
Now, were you in the middle with people?
No, it was
going
in
around?
it was in Sandusky,
That
Ohio.
was way better.
And the place is actually, I can't remember the name of the place, but it was actually looked like a castle outside of it. There was like a dragon coming out of it. It was just absurd. And they had like a haunted house. They had a skating rink. They had, a place to eat pizza, video games, all this kind of crazy stuff. And there was like a little area where they had a stage set up, and we actually played the show there. And then we jumped on those little razors.
Yeah,
and
a
rode
buddy of
around.
ours got seriously injured on the razor.
Yeah, he did.
Tore his jeans.
He tore his favorite jeans.
Yeah,
Poor guy.
It was dramatic.
It was.
There you go, kids. Be careful on the razors.
Yeah.
There's always a moral to this show.
Absolutely.
The video we're going to go into is called Take Me Back. It's definitely my favorite from you guys, despite all the hilariousness of the t-shirts. Just because this one's got such a cool look to it. You've got flags, you've got a little girl kind of running around in the video. You want to just tell me just kind of where all those pieces came from to represent the songs?
Yeah, we had this guy. He's a really good friend of us. He's a photographer and he does videos. And his name's Caleb Cool. And he's actually the one that did all of our artwork, and he's the one that put the video together. And it was just kind of us trying to sit down and figure out, kind of what the idea of the song is, Taking Back. The song's really about surrender, and it's about, coming to that point where we're broken and we realize we need God's grace and forgiveness and surrendering yourself to Him. And so that's kind of what we started the video out. And the flags are, it starts out black, and at the end she puts it in the water and brings it out white. And so it's kind of just a vision of that idea of surrendering.
And keeping with the band tradition, did you find the little girl on Craigslist?
Yes, we actually did. Yep. Yeah, we put an ad looking for, we made it as not creepy as possible, but band looking for, an actress and these, this age type of a thing. So it was awesome.
With Satellites and Sirens on the Merge Out Loud, the video is called Take Me Back. This one's definitely my favorite. Check it out. This is the Merge Out Loud with Satellites and Sirens. My name is Tower. The faith element of what you guys do, tell me just how your faith in Jesus influences the songs you write, the way you play, just where this band is going.
Yeah, we're all believers, and so that anytime we're writing a song, it's from that perspective. We try to write songs about situations, not necessarily, worship songs or anything like that, but just a song about, like Come On, and something that is happening in the church, that's happening just in everyone's life, and being able to come at it from that Christ perspective, and think that it doesn't matter if you have a broken home, or it doesn't matter if you've made this wrong decision or whatever it is. We have a God that can handle these things, that will be there for you, and just knowing that we can turn that situation back to God, and it's opened up a lot of conversations for us to talk to kids and things like that. Kids hear a song and they're like, what is this song about? And we're able to say, look, we focus ourselves on our faith, and that's why we wrote this song. So.
And I know the bands are constantly just putting together new songs. When you guys are preparing kind of your next batch, does just life on the road and these experiences, really kind of funnel songwriting itself?
I think so. We're just starting to work on a second record, and so, we do things really backwards when we're writing. So we do a lot of like building tracks and music first. We haven't really dove into that writing of lyrics and all that kind of stuff yet, but I'm sure that a lot of these situations and scenarios we've been through are gonna start coming into when we're starting to write the songs.
Let's talk about the synth sound here a little bit, because music really is fashion, and that sooner or later everything comes back around. And any band that puts together music is original in some aspects, but it's almost like nobody's original because everybody's built off of something at this point if you're born in this era of time, right? Just tell me, where did kind of the idea to reach back into some of those synth bands and use a lot of electronic sounds come from?
I grew up in the 80s. My brother was a teenager in the 80s, and so I listened to Depeche Mode every time I got in his lowrider truck, or the Pet Shop Boys, Information Society, you name it. We always are listening to it. So those synths and the kind of loops and dance and all that kind of stuff was stuff that I listened to all the time with him, and I just loved that, and I love rock and roll, and so just kind of combining those things together and
you just wanted to mash
seeing what happened. That's kind of what we did.
It's so trendy right now, and I think the bands that do that kind of stuff because they love it are going to continue to use that sound. And then there's a lot of bands that try to jump on the bandwagon of, synth records are selling right now, let's do that. 5 years from now, do you feel like the sound is evolving where you're going to use other things? Do you think there's always going to be synth and electronica in there?
I think we're going to always probably keep that kind of stuff in there. We'll probably stay with that trend a little bit. It might be, there's so much of it that can just be background and just fill out stuff that I just don't think we'll ever stop using it.
Satellites and Sirens, really, really cool to have you guys on. As you get back out there on the road, as you leave the Merge Studios here, when somebody actually comes to a show, what is it you want them to walk away with?
Big thing we want people to walk away with is hope. I think we live in a time right now where everybody's wondering where money's coming from. Everybody's wondering if our economy is going to turn around, or these natural disasters seem to keep happening all the time. And I think there's just a lack of hope in society. And so to try to get in front of the younger generation and just remind them that we have a hope and we have something different, and reminding them of that, I think is a big thing that we want to come across with.
Satellites and Sirens, so great to have you guys on, man. It's always fun to hang. You're actually working on a worship EP as we speak, right? Yeah. You do EPs between full-length albums?
Absolutely. We're going to be in the studio finishing up some of that here soon, so keep your eyes open.
Very cool to have Satellites and Sirens on the Merge Out Loud. The full-length is just self-titled Satellites and Sirens. It's out on iTunes and in stores right now. This is the Merge Out Loud.